we go. During Sunday's win over the Bucks, Saints All-Pro lineman Cam Jordan was seen throwing a punch in the first quarter. Now, he wasn't ejected or even penalized for the move. And after the game, Cam tweeted, "I punched at a ball and Dove was ripping it out. This ain't a non-contact sport." And tweet. Oh, no, actually, that ball almost came loose. Then that's the end of the tweet. Now, we saw some other guys do this over the weekend where they threw full punches, try to get the ball loose. So, in or out, throwing a full punch to try to force a fumble should be a penalty.
Absolutely out of bounds. This is a violent sport where you do whatever is necessary to jar a football out of the hands of the opposing team, whether that's an offensive player or a defensive player who may happen to recover a fumble or throw an interception. I think all things are game. Now, if you're trying to throw punches at people's heads, that's different. That's not the case here. He was throwing a punch to try to hit the ball out, and teams have been teaching that for decades. And most times we see people trying to rip. Throwing a punch is actually much more violent, and I think it's totally acceptable. Out of bounds.
It's much more violent, but is it much more effective than trying to rip it out when
no,
exactly?
I don't think so. I mean, because your aim has to be pristine.
Correct. I mean, who might have? Come on, you played, but I'm a pretty aggressive person, but I'm going to say inbounds to this. Not a huge fan of it. I love when you try to rip it. As a matter of fact, I think it's led to some shoddy tackling techniques. I think guys sometimes, Tiki, are a little too preoccupied. They're going for the punch or going for the strip that they neglect, squaring up and getting the pads level and actually driving somebody backwards. But I'm not a fan of the punch. Not to the point where, listen, put it this way. If Mike didn't write the question, I would not have given it any thought, really. Unless it was something egregious, like if I see coming up in week 2 where I'm like, all right, it's probably time to revisit this. But as a question, and I think about it, the rules have changed a little bit. The game's become not softer, but different. Well, I guess certainly softer for the old school. Yeah, it's fair.
It's softer.
It's softer. I was trying to be fair, but it's softer.
It's soft.
So why, as everything else is softened and curtailed, why would we allow, these wild punches being thrown? It just seems inconsistent with the direction of the NFL. It doesn't particularly move me one way or the other, but if that was expunged from the game, I'd be okay with it. Inbounds. All right, Giannis's future. It's up in the air a little bit, we think. Now, ESPN's reporting that the owner made it clear to Giannis that the team would be willing to spend into the luxury tax to deliver him a better supporting cast. Now, as we know, Giannis is up for the Supermax. He's obviously going to get it this offseason, which would pay him roughly $50 million a year. Giannis should take less than the Supermax to help the team build out and build a better product around him to win a championship.
This is nuanced. I think you have to have commitments from a free agent, a big-time free agent, in order for him to do this. I'm going to say inbounds because Giannis he's going to make more money than it doesn't matter if he makes the Supermax or not. From a generational wealth or multi-generational wealth standpoint. He's a 2-time MVP, and he's going to continue to play at a high level. He's always going to be able to make money playing basketball. So I'm going to say inbounds, but so much of the other side of this question to bring in players, that's really not up to him. It's not up to Lasry. They have to figure out free agents that want to come and that are going to be impactful.
I'm going to say out of bounds because I don't think it matters. Next year, their finances I was talking about this last week on the show, Teak. Their finances are a little out of whack already, which is reason for concern as they need. I think you can make the case they don't just need to take a little step forward. They need to take a bigger step than I think Buck fans want to really admit if they're honest with themselves. This is another year, another bounce job early. They got rolled by the Raptors last year. After they won the first 2, they lost 4 straight. They got knocked around in the second round this year. I mean, I'm not really impressed with their play. Yeah. And I don't think anybody is. I don't think I'm unique with that assessment. But the problem is, even if he did take a little bit less, right? Again, you got Eric Bledsoe, who's fine, but Eric Bledsoe's making 17, 18, and then 19 for the next 3 years. Middleton's making 40 up until 23, 24. I don't really see George Hill's for 9 and 10 for a couple of Brooke Lopez is 12, 13. I don't know what it does.
Yeah.
Like, what does it do? If somebody could show, if he takes 93% of the Supermax, then we can tangibly do this. Then I would say, sure, in bounds. But their finances are whacked right now, so I don't think it would really help out. So at that point, I'm taking every penny. All right, Tiki. As expected, Tiki broke this story first. 5 months? No, more than 5 months ago. 9 months ago, whatever it was, right?
It's been a while.
Long time.
Yeah.
Tiki broke the story that the Mets were going to sell and that Stevie Cohen was going to be the winner in terms of the minority partner. He is a whopping $2.4 billion, which surpasses the Nets' $2.3 billion as the highest ever, and is awaiting approval of 23 of the 30 requisite MLB owner votes. Now, Cohen, who's the second richest owner in sports behind Steve Ballmer, is worth $14.1 billion. All right, more than the next three richest baseball owners combined.
Wow.
I think Artie Moreno's on that list, but I'm not positive. I would think that he's among the top three. In or out? Having a rich owner in baseball is more valuable than the other sports.
I'm going to say in bounds of this, BT, because that, as we all know, baseball doesn't have a salary cap. And the owners are really, it's up to them whether they want to spend to their max and even go over that and get into the luxury to try to win a championship. And when you have a rich owner, that's a less complicated conversation. You're okay losing money if it's going to produce winning, at least in the short term. So I'm going to say in bounds of this one. It definitely matters more in baseball than in other sports.
Yep.
Basketball might be in the same category because you have the luxury tax that that comes in. But football, I mean, you can't go any higher than what you can go. So I'm going to say in bounds of this.
Yep, I'm going to say in bounds as well. It's funny, though, nobody spends more than Dolan, and he's been spinning his wheels for 20 years. So in the NBA, it's not a guarantee. I mean, it's not a guarantee in baseball either. But my answer is in bounds for this primary reason. What it allows you to do is give out that aggressive / borderline reckless contract, okay?
Yeah.
10 years, 13 years for Bryce Harper, 9 years, 10 years. Like, it allows you to do that. Not only, first of all, it allows you to do it, as a single entity, just like we can actually do it because we've got the money. But it also allows you on the last couple of years of those contracts when inevitably they go south. Garrett Cole's going to be stealing money those last couple of years. Same with Bryce Harper. Same with Mike Trout eventually. It's going to happen. Same with Machado with the San Diego Padres. And it allows you to swallow that. Same with Stanton with the Yankees if he stays put, and hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully they trade him to some sucker who takes on that ridiculous contract. And then you can still rebuild and forge forward with an aggressive championship vision. If you're a team like, I'll throw out the A's or the Reds, like a mid-market team that might not have the deepest pockets or the deepest resources coming in, if you try to bite off the apple aggressively 1 year and it fails, you're dead. You're financially stuck, and there's really no way out of it. So absolutely in bounds, totally agree.
The other three owners, BT, Mark Lerner, this is the next in line. So Ballmer, then Cohen, should he get the 23 of 29 owners to say yes. Mark Lerner of the Nets, Greg Johnson of the Giants, and Mike Ilitch of the Tigers.
Ilitch, well, the Little Caesars.
Yep.
Pizza.
Gotcha.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.